So how I completely cured my hormonal acne. There are supplements that help balance your hormones. This is DIM, saw palmetto, and Vitex. And then another additional supplement for Hey everybody, I'm Nathan from Life Shift Fitness. This week's video is going to be on how I completely cured my hormonal acne with some simple over-the-counter supplements. Make sure you subscribe because next week's video is going to be the new miracle fat loss drug, semaglutide, Ozempic. I know you've heard of it. I'm a pretty new creator. I'd be super grateful if you would just subscribe, like the video. Everything, little thing helps. And you're not going to get new videos like the Miracle Weight Loss one, Ozempic, next week unless you hit the bell icon when you subscribe. In the video link in the description is the link for my social media where I post daily tips on nutrition and training. So make sure you follow me there. And you can contact me with the email in the link below. I'm a certified personal trainer. And over the years I have been training, I have come across a bunch of frequently asked questions. And so I'm going to address one of them today, which is what I do about acne that comes from the gym and hormones, both from men and women. So how did I get rid of my hormonal acne? This also applies for teens, adults, people on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, and HRT for females, hormone replacement therapy. So topics to cover in this video. First is my experience, and then what is hormonal acne, which hormones cause acne, causes of fluctuating androgens, how do androgens cause acne? So I get antibiotics, right? How I completely cured my hormonal acne, a deep dive into the supplements, and then the recommended dosages. Now remember, in the description there's timestamps right below, so if you want to jump around to any of those topics, feel free to jump around. So my experience. So let's start off with my teen life. Around the age of 14 or 15, when puberty started really hitting hard, my shoulders and back were just one big line of volcanoes. It was volcanic cystic acne. It was terrible. So I guess I just had high testosterone as a teenager. And a lot of teenagers go through hormonal changes. It's not even that, my testosterone may not have been that high. It's just out of balance. So that can happen with males and females. But in my personal experience, I've wrestled in high school, and my acne was so terrible. This is so embarrassing to say, but my acne was so terrible, I actually had to wear a white t-shirt underneath that lame singlet that people wrestle in because I had terrible cystic acne all over my back that were ready to pop open sores. I know it's so disgusting. It's what I lived with. It was terrible. But I actually had to wrestle in a white t-shirt or put a shirt on underneath the singlet because the referee would actually pause the match if he saw blood on the mat, and as soon as my back hit the mat at any point, all of it would bust. My volcanoes would explode, acne all over the mat. It was terrible. It was so hard. When I went to pools as a teenager, went to pool parties, went to just get together with my friends, when I took my shirt off and other kids saw my back, their instant reaction, understandably, was oh my God, what is that? They freaked out when they saw my back. It was it was super hard. Super hard. I actually had kids telling me at certain points they didn't even want to swim in the same pool as me because they were afraid of my situation. So obviously that hurt my self-esteem, caused a lot of mental health problems that you can assume, my sense of self-worth, my ability to feel good about myself, that all factors into your mental health. So Acne's a big deal. I mean, especially when it's terrible, 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 to where kids make fun of you, everyone makes fun of you, you don't feel like taking your shirt off. It's so I have scarring. I have scarring over my shoulders, down my back. It's faded a little bit now, but the scarring on my shoulders will never go away, and that is just from the cystic acne that I had as a teenager. When I was age 30, about 3 years ago, I decided to start testosterone replacement therapy to keep myself at the top of the testosterone range. And of course, that's a lifelong decision. So I'm gonna be topped off even when I'm 90 years old. Still have the same testosterone level I did as a teenager. So serious decision. Just discuss it with your doctor. So SARMs, selective androgen receptor modulators, is something I've also messed around with since I've been on TRT. I'm not going to go into that in this video. So I got prescribed, I went to the dermatologist when all this started up, and they prescribed me antibiotics. They started me off with doxycycline, and it didn't really touch it. And then they gave me the top antibiotic they could give me, and I'm going to try to pronounce it, sulfamethoxazole, combined with trimethoprim. I don't know. Look at it. I don't know how to say it. But yeah, so that greatly reduced my acne, but it had a ton of unwanted side effects, and I was on it for 8 or 9 months, and it was just a bad experience. So, what is hormonal acne? Hormonal acne is when breakouts form in adulthood. These could range from blackheads to whiteheads or painful cysts, like I had. Hormonal acne is due to the overproduction of sebum, which is the oily substance that your pores secrete around the hair follicles, and which can clog pores and lead to pimples. Hormonal acne is what occurs when your hormones fluctuate. Which hormones cause acne? Fluctuations of estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone can cause zits and pimples to pop up. These hormones, testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone, are referred to as androgens. An androgen is a sex hormone that is naturally produced in the body. So the testosterone is the male hormone, although women have it in smaller proportions. And then estrogen and progesterone are usually thought of as female hormones, but of course men have those too. Nevertheless, all people have all of these androgens, just in different ratios. So, causes of fluctuating androgens, or hormones. In adult men and women, fluctuations can be caused if they decide to go on hormone replacement therapy. Exogenous hormones are given through therapy, either testosterone replacement therapy or some other kind of replacement. This refers to any androgens that enter the body from outside the body that was not produced by the body's own endocrine glands. So this does include the SARMs that I've experimented with, and anyone who's on anabolic steroids, which is a synthetic form of testosterone, where the scientists, back starting in the 50s, they started wanting to change the testosterone molecule to be less viralizing, less androgenic effects, which means like male characteristics, and just more anabolic. So steroids are derived from testosterone. So anytime you take a synthetic form of testosterone or an anabolic steroid, it can also cause fluctuations in hormones. In adult women, these fluctuations can also happen during menstruation cycles, pregnancy, and menopause. And as a side note, your acne can be also caused by a poor diet. A lot of people who eat fast food every day, a diet high in trans fats, will see their skin just riddled with acne, and it has to do with the trans fats. Poor diet. How do androgens cause acne? Androgens cause acne by triggering your sebaceous glands in the skin to overproduce oil, which clogs the pores around the hair follicles, inflames the skin, and feeds the cutibacterium that causes acne. So, basically, step one, the pores clogged by the sebum, the oily secretion that comes out of your pores. These pores also contain a bacteria which multiply and infect the clogged pore. These bacteria feed on the dead skin cells in the pore. So it initially turns red as blood rushes to the infection, which is the bacteria feeding inside the clogged pore. White blood cells and dead skin cells build up because as the blood rushes in, it brings in the white blood cells to fight the infection of the bacterial that are multiplying in the pore, and results in dead white blood cells and dead skin cells, and this builds up and causes pus. So there's two types of pimples that can form. There are whiteheads, where the opening of the pore has actually been blocked, and then the pus stores underneath, or a blackhead, where the opening of the actual pore is open, but the pore is still clogged. And interesting fact, the melanin, which is the thing in your skin that causes it to have pigment, the melanin reacts with the oxygen from the air and turns black. So that's what causes a blackhead. So get antibiotics, right? So acne is ultimately caused by bacteria, so you should do what I did and get a prescription of antibiotics, right? No, definitely don't do that. The problem with antibiotics is because not only kills your bad bacteria, it also kills your good bacteria, the good gut bacteria that is essential for digestion. So when you get on a course of antibiotics, the stronger the antibiotic, especially enough to kill your acne problem, it's going to cause nausea, indigestion. It can cause vomiting, diarrhea, bloated or feeling full, loss of appetite, stomach pain, and cramping. So when I talk about my side effects from antibiotics, this is what I was referring to. I had the bloating, always feeling full, loss of appetite. And that's the only two symptoms I had from it, but it was really severe to the point like I'm on TRT, I was on SARMs, I'm bodybuilding, I'm doing all this stuff to build muscle, but you can't build muscle if you're not eating in a surplus. So I found it impossible to eat in a surplus because my stomach was always bloated, always felt full, but nothing was, my food couldn't digest because I was taking antibiotics twice a day, which destroyed my gut bacteria that digest your food. And of course, I know you've heard of another drawback of antibiotics, especially long-term, is antibiotic resistance. This occurs when the bacteria becomes resistant to the antibiotics and it just stops working. So when you actually get sick and you get prescribed antibiotics, the bacteria is already resistant to it. So remember that the bacteria is what's becoming resistant to the antibiotics, not the organism, not the humans or the animals that are given the antibiotics. So how I completely cured my hormonal acne. There are supplements that help balance your hormones. This is DIM, saw palmetto, and Vitex. And then another additional supplement for oily skin and acne is vitamin B5 or pantothenic acid. And I will say that pantothenic acid, vitamin B5 by itself, will reduce your acne by 80%. So let's talk about saw palmetto. Saw palmetto is a small shrub resembling a palm tree that produces dark colored berries. Saw palmetto berries contain a fatty acid called liposterols. I know I'm butchering these scientific terms. I'm not a doctor. I'm just giving you the information. Liposterols, which have been found to inhibit the action of an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase. So 5-alpha reductase is an enzyme in your body that takes the testosterone that's naturally circulating in men and women, and it converts it to something called DHT. So saw palmetto has been shown to decrease tissue's uptake of androgens of both testosterone and DHT. So in conclusion, saw palmetto can inhibit the conversion of testosterone to DHT and prevents the tissues from binding to the DHT and testosterone that is available. So as you can see, saw palmetto, super helpful in reducing the release of sebum that, gets released because of the androgens in your body binding to the receptors. Vitex. Vitex is a plant used in herbal medicine, also known as chaste tree or chasteberry, is often used to remedy women's health problems. It is thought that Vitex reduces the release of prolactin by activating dopamine receptors. So this is most commonly used to treat the premenstrual syndrome, PMS, menstrual disorders, infertility, acne, menopause, and nursing difficulties. Now, I will say out of all the supplements, this one has the least amount of scientific evidence to support being prescribed for these uses. So I would really recommend this to my female clients and see if they see any great effect. Of course, males can take it too, but a lot of the prolactin issues that cause disorders with PMS, menopause, and acne in women are probably more reliant on this supplement. So let's talk about DIM. DIM is short for dimethane. I'm sure I said that right. A metabolite of indole 3-carbinol, or I3C. Yeah, so just, remember that. So this is a compound found in cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, and kale. 100 grams or 3 ounces of cruciferous vegetables contain up to 30 milligrams of glucobracin. Glucobracin. There you go. Butchered another word for you. But down that conversion is this compound, glucobracin, estimated to convert to approximately 2 milligrams of DIM, which is not an effective amount of DIM for acne, so you will need to supplement. DIM blocks androgen receptors, so it stops hormones from getting into the receptor and the negative effects that the androgen receptors have on the body, like instigating acne. Alright, so the heavy hitter, vitamin B5, pantothenic acid. Pantothene is a naturally occurring physiological compound synthesized in the body from pantothenic acid, or vitamin B5. Pantothenic acid creates coenzyme A. In turn, this coenzyme A helps break down fatty acids and triglycerides in your body. Yay! It has a direct effect on the amount of sebum your skin produces. So there's the brass tacks. That's what we're interested in. Coenzyme A can help reduce overall sebum production, leading to less oily skin and fewer breakouts. So like I said, this is definitely one that is going to be responsible for 80% of your reduction of acne by itself. Alright, so bonus about pantothenic acid, B5, and triglycerides, because I noticed the mention of decreased triglycerides, so I extended my research and I found these facts here. Pantothene and its effects on your lipids. The total cholesterol levels were lowered by an average of 12%. HDL cholesterol, which is sometimes dubbed the good cholesterol, the high density lipids were increased by up to 17%. The low density lipids, cholesterol, also known as bad cholesterol, were lowered by anywhere between 4% and 20%. And triglyceride levels were lowered, overall triglyceride levels were lowered by at least 14%. So, I know someone who is watching their HDL, taking testosterone, SARMs, other supplements. This is definitely good news. So, here's what everyone's been waiting for. Recommended dosages. So for the DIM, you want to take in between 300 and 600 milligrams per day. Saw palmetto, 400 to 800 milligrams per day. Vitex, 300 to 600 milligrams per day. Vitamin B5, the pantothenic acid, 2 to 5 grams per day. That's right, I said grams. So that's 2,000 to 5,000 milligrams per day. So I buy it in 500 milligram capsules, and I dose half of it in the morning, half at night. It's a water-soluble vitamin, so it can't build up in your system Any extra you take in, you'll just piss out. So there's no risk of overdosing. So I find that I started off with like 3 grams a day, which is 3 of the 500 milligram capsules in the morning, 3 of the 500 milligram capsules at night. And anytime where I up my dose of testosterone or I start to see acne flaring up, I'll move up to 5,000 milligrams per day, which is 5 of the capsules in the morning and 5 of the capsules at night, and it just beats acne completely down. It gets rid of it. So in combination with the B5, in combination with the DIM, the supplemento, and I don't take Vitex. Like I said, that's more recommended for my women viewers. But my acne is 100% clear now, even on TRT, even adding SARMs. All right, so it must be said, I am a certified trainer, not a licensed physician. I'm not a doctor. I'm only giving recommendations based on my research and experience. So before starting to start up any kind of supplement protocol, make sure you discuss that decision with a licensed healthcare professional. And of course, all studies and articles that I referenced in this video are linked down below. So if you want to do further reading, everything's down there. You know, the articles have links to studies where they pull the information from if you're interested in any of these claims. So I am a certified personal trainer. So if you're confused on how to build a systematic and progressive program, you're not sure how to balance your recovery, your fatigue for maximum gains, you're not sure how to find your maintenance calories or put yourself into a calculated deficit or surplus, or if you just don't feel like it, you don't have the time, you're in luck. Just click the link in the description for my email, and we'll schedule you a free strategy session to talk about what we can do to get you on track. All right, so I am Nathan from Life Shift Fitness. I am a licensed professor and a certified personal trainer, and I'll see you in the next one.